What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that collaboration in 2022 and 2021, our team reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we're looking forward. This is a historic event on the Dr. Vibe show. So gonna give a little histoire, as we like to say, some histoire. So way back when I was first starting this thing that I do online all the time, I was blessed to be part of four brothers. It was four brothers. I don't know. Four brothers. I think it was four brothers. And yeah, it was initially four brothers. And we just started to say, why don't we just, actually, the person that initiated this idea, I think the two driving forces were Henri and Victory Unlimited. So they're here. But we said, why don't we just come on once a month as Black men and just chop it up? Talk about whatever was on our alleged minds. And we did it 1 month. We did it 2 months. We did it 3 months. And we just kept on going. We didn't stop. And we went on for years and years. And I want to show you the original post for the first Dr. Vibe Allies show. So I'm going to put that up, and hopefully you'll be able to see the date that was. But if you don't, I will read it for you. So I'm going to put it down right here. So this is from my website. This goes back in the day, July 10th, 2012. Henri, I can see Henri's going, yeah, July 12th, 2012. I'm just going to scroll through. And at the time, we had Iron Mike Ramey, who's there, Victory Unlimited, who's with us tonight. Clive was not there yet, but we had Henri Morris, born and bred in Philly. We want to talk about the Super Bowl. And we had Jason Francis from New York. That was the original Dr. Vibe Allies. And we did that for about 3 years, the last Thursday of each month. And I can say at that time, it was way ahead of its time. Like, it's normal these days for Black men to have conversations online. But with the addition of Clive Henri, who still lives in Nottingham, England, we had Black men from 3 different countries and 2 continents live on a regular basis. Now, I know back then, I don't think there was anything like that. Now, maybe the brothers who are coming on can tell me different, but I don't think. And I'm going to put it out there. I still think today, on a regular basis, I don't know if that's still happening. I think it may be, but definitely back in 2012, it wasn't happening on a regular basis. So over the last few months, as Iron Mike Ramey said, he said, it's time to get the mission. We have to get the charge back on. The mission is not complete. So we are happy to announce that Dr. Vibe Allies is back. We have 3 out of the 4 that we're expected to be here tonight on, but we still have the same thing. We've got 3 different countries. I'm in Canada. Victory Unlimited, Henri Morris are in America, and Clive Henri is in England. So without further ado, let's say the Allies are back. So let's bring them up. VU, Clive Henri, Henri Morris. We back.
Hey, the boys are back in town, baby.
What's going on?
What's up, family? What's going on?
We are back. We are back.
What's up? Hey, listen, for everybody who has not got Boy Clive's book. You gotta buy it. It is a good read from beginning to end. Matter of fact, I was mad because I was at the airport and I lost it. And I had Classic Clive. I'm buying another book. I want you to do the same thing. And it's still on my shelf. And I anytime I have a conversation about certain things about racism, listen, I'll go right to the book. I'll go to a certain page that let's read
Thanks,
it.
Henri. Thanks, Henri.
Yes,
You're
sir.
welcome.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Wow.
Chapter
And
and
my man,
verse.
be
Chapter and
you.
verse. The audio version, Clive. I love it.
Yeah. I made it audio and Kindle and paperback, so everyone could,
Wow.
get that. A lot of work went into that, so it's all good.
But also too, again, Clive, that's another book that I think was ahead of its time. If you look at what's happened since that book was put out.
Yeah.
Okay. We got so much to cover. That's why we got to come back, because there is so much that we haven't had a chance to share about.
Wow. Yeah. And
there is
actually, what's
so
everybody been doing?
much that we haven't had a chance to, like, you just think about that. Remember when Clive's book came out?
Yeah.
Look how much stuff has happened. And Henri, got to give a big shout out. I saw you caught a little bit of Dr. Alicia Watkins.
Yes.
She was fire the other night.
Yes. It was crazy, Doc. I was just scrolling through LinkedIn and I saw, I'm like, oh, okay. But I couldn't make a comment. So I said, wait a minute. He's on YouTube. Let me flip the YouTube.
There you go.
And I quoted at the very end. But she was saying some very interesting things about the perception of Black women today, and I thought it was really on point, because one of the things I wanted to say at the toy, I think one of the things that the perception of Black women is that they have a image problem, which they really don't. Who has an image problem is society with Black women, because they want Black women to keep on being morphing into all these different things. Yes. And there is a I guess a generation of Black women who are running towards that ideology and that image. Because listen, y'all know I do hair, so when I see I want 35-inch Brazilian silky. Girl, stop it.
Well, you know what? In order to do this justice, I want each one of you to share a little bit about yourselves. So who wants to go first? Because they don't know you, and they don't know you all, man. So who wants to share about themselves first?
I'll go ahead and
all right.
Look, I'll go ahead and rush right into the fray, as they say.
Because you got the tank, you in the bunker. You got to.
Yeah, Victory Unlimited, or VU for short. Victory Unlimited, the Victory Unlimited show is a show that gives men positive messages. It uplifts men. It helps men to be better men today than they were yesterday. And I usually focus on a variety of different subjects. Primarily, it was dating and relationships, and then life strategies overall. And I just kind of mixed it up and kept it going. Right now, I did that show from 2010 until 2020. And so I have all of the archives up.
Wow.
And the show is kind of like a radio play.
Yeah.
I know nobody on this call is old enough to actually hear a radio play. But if you go back in the annals of history, where people used to all sit around as a family and listen to the radio in the 30s and 40s, adventure series. So it was a parody of that. But of course, what I was doing was speaking real things to real people. And so as of right now, it's like I was mentioning to Doc, I've basically hung up my guns for a while, but I leave all the weapons where they are in case I need to go back and use them. And the call went out to make an Allies show. So here I am. Victory Unlimited is back with the Allies. It's good to hear you guys' voices. It's good to be here tonight.
Absolutely. Well, VU, thank you so much. And for those people who want to go check out the show, there is the address right there, the Victory Unlimited show. Go there. And the nice thing is, as we say in the media business, the conversations are evergreen. So 10 years ago, is still very relevant. What he's saying today, or what's going on today. So very relevant. Also, too, I just got a shout out too. If you are like what you're hearing on the Dr. Vibe Show, subscribe on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, like it on Facebook, YouTube. If you subscribe on YouTube, also hit the notification button. But wherever you're watching this, it's all good. So next up, who's next? Who's gonna chime
I'll
in
let Henri go. Since you're already in America, I'll let you American boys go next.
Listen, look, de facto, we from England, bruh. De facto from England, bruh. I just want to, quick little history note, because y'all know I'm that history dude, right?
Yeah, true.
So, everybody, how everybody's doing? I'm Henri Morris. I'm originally from Philadelphia, as you see, my sign in the back. We kind of took an L, but we ain't gonna talk about that. What have I been doing since we had last time we've been together? Well, let's see. I'm now teaching at a junior college here in Northern California.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm working on police reform in the city that I live in, Vallejo. So I sit on the police chief's advisory board. I've been doing that now for the last 3 years. So we've been working on some restructuring of the policies and the engagement of the police officers with the community. And right now I'm trying to galvanize like the other social action groups in our community to put the pressure on City Hall and also City Council to give the police what they need, because we're losing more police officers, per our demographic. So been working on that. And I'm happy to announce that when we was doing the show, my wife was in her doctoral program at Morgan State. Yes. She is now Dr. D. Von Morris. And we got through that long struggle, that little 4 year. Because I would get up when we was doing Batman Talk, dot. And she'll be in the office knocking out papers and dissertations for a dissertation. She actually graduated when she defended her dissertation. It's with distinction. I didn't know what it meant, so I had looked it up. So listen, I had to go look it up. I didn't know what it meant, but she passed with like only 1% of the doctoral students in the whole entire world passed.
Wow!
So I was very proud of her.
Great.
Congratulations, Henri.
Thank you. And I just celebrated my 60th birthday, so now that's all I got.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you there. But it's been I miss you guys. I really miss y'all.
We are back. We are back, and we need to we gotta keep it going.
And yes, and last thing, and I'm gonna pass on to Clive, and Clive can attest to this. I was in London in 2018, and I called Clive. I told y'all I'm going to hit all y'all where y'all live. I'm calling y'all up, so just come get me. I'm coming to see you.
I know you're gonna do it. I know you're gonna do it.
I came to see Clive first, and unfortunately, Clive got sick.
I think I was the start of the big C before the pandemic.
Right.
Oh God.
So I was bedridden.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to see him, but I'm coming. Toronto's next.
Well, and one of the allies, Jonathan Shaw, he said in an email, is it his 50th or 60th? I think it's his 50th. I don't know what he hits
I think he said 55.
55th birthday, and he wants to get the allies together some way. We've been promising that for so long, and you know what? We got to do it, because you never know. Time never lost a fight.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Who said that? Time never lost a fight.
Henri Morris.
Henri Morris. You know how many times I've used that statement, and I have froze. I've given people heart attacks. Like they go, what? So I quote you on that. The time never lost a fight.
They haven't, bro. So
my goodness. Well, and you've already given me one or two conversation topics. If to talk about tonight, but let's go to Clive Henry in the future.
In the future, okay.
What time is it in the future right now?
The time is now 2:30 a.m. on Friday morning.
Wow.
That's
okay. And just for the listeners out there, this is Clive Henry from Nottingham, England. And Nottingham is famous for Robin Hood. That would be your biggest reference, or Torval and Dean, or Paul Smith, or it's in the middle of England, just 120 miles north of London. So it takes about 2 hours to get to London. But I have been introduced to Dr. Vibe because of I had a case with my old employer, okay, and it's all in this book. I wrote a book about it. It was released in 2020. Racism is Real, Clive Henry. Okay, so it's got everything in the book. Or you can Google Clive Henry, Amazon. But I met Dr. Vibe through Twitter. Twitter was the new thing. And it was a case of I used social media to get the word out of what was happening with me and what I was going through at work and with the legal troubles I had. And, it was an explosion of a lot of people retweeting, stars retweeting, companies retweeting, and, people coming back to me. This is like before the big, racism is so normal now, but back in the day, in a social media front, it was a bit different. So, and that's how Dr. Vibe reached out to me, and it was called The Vibe and Vegas Show.
Yes. Well,
that's when he reached out.
You know what's, and some unfortunate news that I just found out about 2 months ago. So when I first started out, I had a co-host, Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know if people, and I found out 2 months ago he had a heart attack and passed away.
Oh,
no.
To hear.
And he was only 50 years old.
Wow.
And so that really struck me because him and I had not talked for a few years, but he was the type of guy, I'd be relaxing at my home one evening and he'd just drop by, just totally unannounced. He would just drop in. So really condolences. And it's funny because someone who I knew for a long time told me, and I had no idea. And so he is one of the main reasons that I'm still doing this today, along with these gentlemen, because back in the early days, there weren't many of us. And actually, two other things with Clive. Clive was one of the first people that I somewhat knew who went viral, a black man that went viral.
For good reasons.
Yes. Exactly. And also for people to say, they say, man, you're so good at doing this thing on camera. Clive Henry was the first person I did a video show with.
Yep.
Wow.
And it was on a New Year's Day. I can't remember exactly the year, but so folks say you're such a pro. I was nervous as all heck. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to bring on a brother who's got a lot of people on in his social media network. So just a little context.
I remember it.
Yeah. What was
this
it?
Is it.
My first,
it was like yesterday, but it was like 2013, 14, I think.
I'm gonna find out when that was, but Clive was my first guest on a live video show. So just amazing. Go ahead, VU.
Hey, Doc, what you're saying is really striking a chord with me, man, because I'm just remembering, you remembering your former partner, Vegas.
Yep.
And I'm just remembering all of you guys. We all came together based on how substantive our conversations were.
Yes.
Individually. I remember first hearing Henri. I think Henri might have been on with Marie Roker.
Marie Roker Jones.
Yeah. And I remember Henri was dropping all of this knowledge about the Harlem Renaissance.
Oh, yeah.
Look,
yes. No.
He had me running to Google.
Who was the lady that there was a lady that you knew who brought you onto the platform. Was it Marie? It wasn't Marie Roker Jones.
It was Kenya Williams.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Kenya Williams.
Yeah.
And I remember I just said, I just got a master class. Like
right,
I did not.
it was impromptu.
I just went, OMG. I'm going, I had no idea any of this stuff. And I said, okay, this brother, I ain't letting go of this brother. He got to come back.
Doc, I can tell you right now, every one of the members of the Allies, they all hit me the same way. I was casually listening to the Dr. Vibe show like I do, and then Clive was on, and Clive like went in depth. I wish it was only just a story, Clive. I wish certain parts of that was not real life, but it was so perfect talking about. You share about the whole UPS situation and how things went down and the trumped up fake charges that they were trying to put against you to try to take your job away from. And that was gripping. Juice Man had a show. Jonathan had a show, and I learned more about 70s vinyl than I ever thought I needed to know. He was dropping knowledge, and then Iron Mike was talking about something historical. He was talking about that black tank division, I think.
Yes.
From the 40s. I said, oh, you're talking my language, And of course, my first encounter with Vibe was gracious enough to see a press release about me, and I think I had that show about 12 New Year's resolutions every man should make.
Yep.
And that's how I got to know Doc, and it's just all of us had something substantive to say, and those like minds seem to gravitate together.
Absolutely. I'm trying to do something really quick here, but I'll see. I'm gonna see if I throughout the conversation can bring up your like some of the early episodes where you first were all on, and I'll see if I can get to it. But if actually, I think I may have got something here. But look at this. Well, this is going back. Okay, well, we'll get to it throughout the journey on upcoming episodes. But Henri, you sparked a conversation topic because you are working with law enforcement. We talked about it a long time then, but this subject never goes away. Policing and black men.
Right.
So we're going to get a 3-country perspective on this. So Henri, can you kick off on this conversation because you are actively on ground level in regards to this subject. So where do you want to start on this?
Well, I think this is start with the word policing. If we all remember our history, police were actually a vigilante group of men white men going after runaway slaves and bringing them back dead or alive. So when you have that word police, it still has a negative connotation to this day, right? So there is a inherited type of mistrust of black men to the police. So with all the incidents we've had over the last decade, and the most egregious one being George Floyd, that now has sparked this whole global sensitivity about, the treatment of black men by the police or black people by the police. I just felt that I needed to have not only my voice in it, but my sweat equity in it. And I think that's the way that we kind of get a chance to change the narrative. So if we remember when we did this show, I never say police and I say law enforcement because it was a choice. You choose to go into the law and to enforce the law. That was a choice. Nobody asked you to do it. So when you come into our communities, you have to respect our communities so we can then respect you. It's a quid pro quo. If you don't respect me, I'm not going to respect you, right? So when we start talking about the policy changes that we wanted, and now I'm working under my second chief, the policies had to be, number one, they had to be clear to the community that you're serving. a lot of times we get caught up in the mumbo jumbo of legalese, not really understanding what's being said and what's we know our laws on the surface, but we all know that it goes as many layers to law, and the law is ambiguous because it's going to always flip and flop depending who can argue the best point, right? So we try to make the policy speak clean, speak clear, not no verbal ease. That's number one. Number two, we want you to be more a part of our community, because then now you got to buy into the community. If you just sit in your car and you parked on the corner waiting for something to happen, or you just driving around all slow trying to make somebody intimidated, what are you doing? You're literally manipulating the law. And not only that, you're putting Black men in particular in a defensive posture. So now you can use the law to justify what you want to do, right? We all saw the video of George Floyd, right? We've all seen the countless videos of brothers who are choked out by the police, shot by the police, body slammed by the police. Now, I have two sides, right? We can sit down and talk, but if you're going to make a fight fair, take off your gun. Right? So we go into these conversations, and so right now my thing with the little city that I live in, Vallejo, is like, listen, we're not trying to be against you, but you're not going to come at us and just try to pick us off. And because I am the only Black man that sits on this advisory board,
be careful.
you already know. You already know.
Wow.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna take my seat on that note right there.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask VU and Clive, when we talk about policing and Black men, and we talked about this way back, has it changed any? Like, there's the George Floyd. We got to talk about the Tyree Nichol incident where he was beaten up and killed by. Don't God, Henri, hold still. VU and Clive, let's get your thoughts on just policing and Black men as we sit at this time.
Well, having to be the one who hails from the city that's responsible for killing Dr. Martin Luther King, and then now seeing Tyree Nichols be beat practically to death in front of us on video. Yeah, I have an opinion about policing. I think several things have changed, and we've seen the metamorphosis over the years. There was a time when we first started this show, Doc, I don't think body cams were even a thing.
They weren't.
Okay, so now we had body cams introduced. So we've gone from that to the point of where body cams aren't even considered. There are some members of police forces that still act the way that they do despite visibility. And then we moved on to another metamorphosis and an expose. We're seeing that there is a culture, a corrupt culture of blue, and we know all blue is not corrupt. We know that. But there is a corrupt culture of blue, whereas it masks the humanity of the people that they're supposed to be protecting and serving, which is why you see at least 5 Black individuals handing out some of the most harshest, some of the most inhumane treatment to another Black man on camera, seemingly without remorse, because they think that blue was the only color that matters.
Clive?
Well, from an outsider looking in, policing in America is slightly different to the UK. Okay, but I say this: if things are going to change, like Henri's saying, it has to come from top to bottom. because they are like the army. They have a chain of command, and it seems that these corrupt police, what are doing these things, they know that they're going to get off. So that's why they do it, you know, unless they have a policy that, like the police in the Tyree Nichol case, they got sacked straight away, and, you know, the book was thrown at them, except for they had a white officer what wasn't charged. So it just shows you that the racism is there institutionally everywhere, you know, but black people have to push for change within the political arena. Protesting is not going to work, you know. I mean, not just the political arena, but they have to make so much change, like back in the civil rights era. Martin Luther King and the civil rights era, they boycotted things and they really made a stand and they really stuck it out. But what seems to happen is they have a few days of protest and then everything goes back to normal. We've been going through this for a long time and it's getting worse. I remember we had a show years and years ago when we had the what was his name? The guy with the Skittles and the
he was a police officer, wasn't he? Wasn't he? We had a police officer.
We talking about Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin. During that time, you know, remember the guy Zimmerman was not even a police officer. He was told to stand down by the police, and he ended up killing, you know, Trayvon Martin. But, you know, looking at a lot of these cases, and I've studied so many of them, these corrupt police officers, they just walk free because it's the laws that need to change. You know, if they step out of line, I mean, they shouldn't even be tasering people. Why are they using tasers on people when they're handcuffed? Or they say that you know, I've read stories where they've said that this black person killed themselves in police custody when they're getting arrested, or things like this. And you just know, you know, your common sense will tell you that these things are done on purpose, deliberately. You also have things we have seen on YouTube where the dash cam of the police officer stopped a white lady and she was so scared, and he goes, "Oh, don't worry, lady, we only kill black people." So it is something in their, you know, the blue DNA that makes them want to do this. And the historical thing with slavery, as Henri said, with the police, you know, rounding up, capturing runaway slaves, they've still got that mentality in its society. It's everything about society what pushes this, but it's the laws that need to change. You know, I was watching the news today, and you know how we have legalized marijuana now. You know, there are people in jail who were selling marijuana what are still in jail, and now it's a legal thing. So they can change the laws when they want to, you know. And if they change the laws with regards to the policing, and if you step out of line, you are out, then things would be a bit different. But they are sent home with paid leaves. A lot of the times I've seen a lot of these stories, and it's getting worse now. You've got black officers. I'd never thought I'd see the day with the Trey Nichols thing, what happened recently. I never thought I'd see the day that would happen, but it's happened. It was a sad day, you know. And you know, things have got to change, and people have got to speak on this and go through whatever means necessary to make these changes so that these things do not happen. You know, if you can have a body cam and the people are still doing this, that just shows you there is no care to what the consequences will be, you know. So this is how it is.
I know Henri has something to say.
First of all, when it happened, I'm like, oh, here we go again. But then when I heard it was 5 black officers, it just took all the air out of me, because now we have no protection from law enforcement. You could, because I'm always thinking, okay, if I'm gonna get in this situation, I'm always hoping that a black cop comes up, because I think we're it's more relatable. I can talk to him and he can talk to his colleagues, whatever. He can be that buffer, right? But five African American officers beat another African American man try to lie about it, try to get it covered up, and then then 3 of y'all, 5 of y'all, I think all of them were supposed to be part of the Divine Nine, the elitist, the talented 10%, and now you want us to trust you? No, not at all. I have friends and family who are law enforcement, and they don't go about doing their business that way. And the fact that that brother was not doing anything when the story unfolds, oh, he dating one of the officers' ex-girlfriend. Let me tell you something. Ain't nothing that good in the world that's gonna make me kill another man over. Nothing, unless that man trying to either hurt or a member of my family or hurt my wife. It ain't nothing that good. So you sit here and you took a man's life because you were in your feelings, you were in your emotions, and you couldn't do it by yourself. You had to call your boys. So you the biggest coward there is, because you couldn't handle yourself. You couldn't handle your business as a man. You had to hide behind that badge and hide behind that blue. If it's a white officer, 9 times out of 10, we saying the same thing about him. So now we have it on both sides now. So
True.
We the only group of men that gotta teach our sons what to do when they get pulled over. We're the only group of men. Then we walk out of our houses, we praying that we get back the same way we left. Because we all know it's going to be a 50-50 crapshoot if we can get back, depending where we it's not even where we're going. We can just be minding our business somewhere and get pulled over by the police and say, yeah, someone fitting your description just robbed the store around the corner. I'm sorry, but if I'm sitting in a 3-piece suit in a briefcase, I don't think I robbed anybody. I don't think the description was, you're looking for a black man in a 3-piece suit carrying a briefcase and a raincoat. Yeah, come on now. So again, to Clive's point, as a community, we have to make our voices heard. Protesting is not the way. I'm sorry. I know everybody want to go out there and be hollering, no justice, no peace, and all that old stuff. Guess what? Y'all don't, and I said this in our original show when we did about policing and black men. Our problem as a people is that we don't keep sustainable anger. We angry for the moment, and once you give us a little bit of something, we're gonna go back home and go back what we were doing. We don't keep sustainable anger, because if you keep sustainable anger, guess what? They're going to start fearing your next move if you keep sustainable anger. Now, you have some people say, well, you can't go around being angry. Why can't you? They go around hating us. How you hate a people that you've been abusing for over 400 years? Somebody explain that to me. But yet, everything that you do says you fear us. I know one of the hip hop groups made an album called "Fear of a Black Nation," right? Was that
Public Enemy?
Right. All right, Fear of a Black Nation. Do you know why you don't fear a Black Nation? Because what's going to happen is all of what you put on us is going to come back to you tenfold. You don't want that heat. You don't want that heat. All that heat you didn't give us for over 400 years, and we ain't broke yet. Okay. So now we got situations with the police officers being black, and now you can't trust them, right? Now, again, I know some good officers, both black and both white. So this does not condemn the entire law enforcement community, but it has to be a better way that we create a relationship, other than the fact that every time I turn around or you turn around, Doc and Clive and VU, one of us is getting taken out, then everybody wouldn't be in their feelings and everybody would go out there protesting. And let's think about these protesters now, right? Some of it is just about vandalism. It ain't about nothing that you get an opportunity to go ahead and tear some stuff and maybe steal some stuff. It's not making a change. Because if you really want to make a change, if you want to do a protest, go to the mayor's house. Go to the city council's house, to the city council members, and protest in front of their doors. Watch how fast some things start to happen. Because if you don't take the fight to the door, it's just a dust up in the backyard. That's all it is. You got to take the fight to the door. How many times, and we were all right growing up, they tell you in a minute, if you bring that trouble to my door, the devil going to answer. So when we gonna bring the fight to their door? Because they done brung it to our doors. Our devils is answering, but we ain't keep no heat on nobody. So I was disheartened with those 5 officers having to be African American and college educated and part of the Divine Nine, supposed to be part of the talent of 10%, and it just took my air out. I had nothing. So we definitely got to get better. I think as a community, we got to listen. We got to listen, and then we got to ask the tough question and not shy away from the tough question and demand an answer. Sustainable anger is going to make change if you keep your anger.
Well, Sharice Taylor, long time no here, and Sharice Taylor, we go back a little bit. She says the Tyree Nichols situation was devastating to say the least. It took Zora Neale Hurston quote of "all my skin folk ain't my kinfolk" to hold at the level.
Ain't that the truth?
Very true.
Clive, want to ask, how much of a concern is policing? And I should put policing and blacks in general, but policing and black men is in England where you are. Is it a concerning issue?
It's still always been a concerning issue. The only thing is, the difference is, as a general rule, the English police do not carry guns. So we have tasers, which is one of the main things that people do get killed with, but generally it's just brutality but not murder, if that makes sense. So they might hurt people, beat them up. You still get harassed, stopped in the cars, things like that, and trying to give you false charges. But generally, they're not going to shoot you because they have no guns to shoot you, unless you're at, say, for example, the airport or somewhere in London where they have to have armed police. So it's generally safer, but still you can't trust them, because you do see them, and you see those cops, those corrupt cops, and they go around. I'm a taxi driver, so I see them, and I've had different cars. And when, you're driving down the street and I had a fancier car and from afar, it's a black guy. So you see them and they bum up, and then they realize it's a taxi and it's not my car. So when they run the plate, they see it belongs to the firm, they leave you alone. So now I've got my own car, but I make sure everything's legit. So there is no problems. I've never been stopped. But as a taxi driver, I think I'm safe. But if I wasn't a taxi driver, I've got friends who have been stopped multiple times for just stupid things. They just stop. I see it on the road. They stopping people just for fun. And it's always a black guy. You go by and go, oh, what they're stopping him for? Because he's got a fancy car.
I want to jump in here and start. I have a conversation piece. I want to start off with VU. Here's a question for all of you. When you get stopped by a policeman, do you feel safe?
I'll tell you what tickles me in an ironic sense. I like how you said when I get stopped by the police, not even if. That's amazing. How'd you know, Doc? How'd you know? But but seriously, to answer the question, I'm on edge. I suddenly become hyper aware of everything around me. And one thing that I have, and I thank God for this, not everybody has this. That's the reason why I doubly thank God, and that is I got I got a weapon. I got a weapon in my back pocket, and when I say weapon, I don't mean an actual weapon, and that is, like Henri said, we never want to come across as anti-police because that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about anti-bad police. So, like Henri mentioned, I have a family full of law enforcement, right? So, and friends as well. And they tell me the stories of how certain people will stand up and do this or that and their career is over, right? But that's a whole nother side issue. But when stopped by the police, the weapon that I have that I can pull out my back pocket is I can immediately blurt out a name of somebody that's high ranking on the force. And the minute I say this person has this relationship with me, or I am related to this person in this way, it's like snapping a finger. The attitude disappears. Suddenly, I get a get out of a whooped ass free card, you know. And so, but not everybody has that. But again, just to boil it all the way down, when stopped by the police, I'm on the edge. I'm hyper aware. I'm planning every step, every word I make and take.
Henri, yourself.
Like VU, I started going into like I got to remember everything that's going on right now. I got where did I get pulled over at? Where am I at? Okay, where's my hands? So we won't have no problem. Now, and this happened the night of the Trayvon Martin verdict. My goddaughter was stranded, so I went to go pick her up. Now, usually I'll go ahead and take the freeway, but I was kind of processing all the things that just happened with the verdict. Now, and I did something that I don't normally do. I actually put on a hoodie. I am driving down this boulevard, San Pablo Boulevard. I'm just driving, and it's about 12:30 at night. There's no cars. Now, growing up in South Philly, we always taught keep your head on a swivel, even if you're driving, and always look at your peripheral, right? So you got your front and you got your peripheral. So through my peripheral, I saw a car like halfway down the block, all of a sudden pull out with no headlights. Okay. I'm looking. I'm getting steady green lights. The car now comes behind me, still putting on no headlights. I said, okay. Looked again. Oh, it's the police. So now I'm thinking, oh, they're going to follow me. Then he going to turn off. No. He followed me right before I got to the freeway exit, then threw his lights on. Woo! Now I'm like, okay, where am I at? Now that whole hypersensitivity thing come up. And this is before I start doing things with the board that I sit on now. So now I'm sitting there. First thing I had to do, first thing to remember, for my hands, here you go. Hands on the steering wheel. So I, like, good evening. So can you tell me why you stopped me? Well, you're doing 35 in the 30 zone. I said, but it's steady green lights. There's no cars in front of me. And you stopped me because I was doing 35 in the 30. No one gets stopped for doing 35 in the 30. Now, all of a sudden, here comes a flashing light from the driver's passenger side. Woo, in my face. Like, well, who is this dude? I like, now, then I lost it. Because now I went straight South Philly. I was like, I won't use words that I use. I'll just say they weren't kind words. But then I had to remember, we coming off the whole Trayvon Martin verdict. I'm wearing a hoodie. Okay. So now I'm just sitting there and I'm exceedingly angry right now. And I'm really trying to hide it because that right there was nothing. So I'm like, okay, he ran my plate. And then I had personalized plates. Right. And at the time, my personalized plate says, love my people. Right.
You're asking for it, young
Oh,
man.
yeah, B. Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, just give me my ticket so I can go. And he looked at me like he really was itching. And I looked at him like, listen, I just want to get out of here. I just want to go home. The freeway's right there. If you want to, you can follow me to the freeway if you want. But knowing that you couldn't, because now that's state property. You can't follow me on the freeway. I say that all to say, again, being hypersensitive, but also too, you got to be mindful of keeping your anger tempered. I ain't saying not to be angry, but you got to keep it tempered. Because I knew where I was at and what I wanted and the things that the tones that was coming out my mouth. If he really wanted to do something at that time, him and the other 3 officers that came for a traffic stop for driving 35 into 30. Yeah, we could have been having a different conversation right now. But again, that's the anger of me as a black man. When I know I'm not doing anything, I'm minding my business. I got out my house, came to get my goddaughter so she didn't have to wait on a bus. And you want to sit here and stop me because I'm getting steady green lights, and you gonna stop me for driving 35 and 30. And the only reason why you stopped me, number one, I was the only car on that boulevard. When you pulled around and like I asked him, I said, well, you've been following me for 12 blocks. And you never turned your light on until now. Why is that? Oh, now they don't want to answer you. But you followed me for 12 blocks. Why didn't you turn your lights on then? If I was speeding when you pulled me here, I was speeding 12 blocks ago. But you didn't want to say that. And at the place, well, I don't have to answer your question. Yes, you do. Because you pulled me over for no reason. Now, I feel myself getting to take that stance. And as black men, you know we can get in that stance. And I'm in my car, still sitting down, still with my seatbelt on. But I feel my stance coming on. I'm like, look, can I just get my tickets so I can get out of here, man? And he took even another 10, 15 minutes. So I didn't get home till about 3 o'clock that morning.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm like you, V. I'm hypersensitive. So I tell my son now that he's a father now. So it's like, dude, you run these streets. I need you to always keep your head on the swivel, and I need you to keep your composure.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, probably why it didn't escalate where it could have escalated because I'm a little older, right? But if I was a younger man, like in my 20s or my 30s, yeah, I could see the situation being totally different. So, yeah.
Henri,
yes, sir.
Henri, they sent so many police officers after you for going supposedly 5 miles over the speed limit. I would think that they pulled you over because you were auditioning for the next role in the next Fast and Furious movie. But I don't think 5 years is fast enough to do that. Five miles an hour is not fast.
No, and trust me, my car at the time wasn't even made the demolition cut. I had an Altima. I had a 2009 Altima. It was midnight blue. Like I said, you know what I mean? It's like, come on. But it's just those things, man. And I think for me as a black man, I'm just tired and I'm fed up. So I try to fight now more with my wit. And my anger is always sustainable. I sustain my anger for any entity, police or any other entity that's going to try to violate my peace. Right? And I believe as a community and as a people, we have to maintain sustainable anger, right? And I'm not saying go out there and like go grab guns and blow up everything, but I'm saying like put the anger as an action verb, is an action now, because you think about it. My mother told me something a long time ago. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you'll move, right? So when we want to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, when we get being sick and tired of always having the conversation about police and black men, the government and our black communities. When are we going to get tired of having a conversation so we can start moving the needle forward to get some progress?
Go ahead, Clive.
Just to say, I mean, in the UK, I haven't been stopped by the police, but there is a story that is on YouTube. You've probably seen it, and it was a Florida Attorney General stopped by the police. I don't know if you've seen it. Basically, they stopped a lady.
Yes,
she was.
Did.
You seen it? And they stopped her, and basically, she was. After they found out who she was, when they ran the plates and it didn't come back with who she was, so they stopped her and said, and she goes, "Why did you stop me?" And after she clicked her fingers, says, "I want your cards." And it was just like, but that is just karma. But that is not in, it doesn't happen all the time. They've even had where there've been police chiefs where they have stopped. I've seen it. We see all that information on the news and on YouTube where it's just your color. They're stopping you because of your color, not because of, So yeah, the Florida attorney one's a good one, because I'm sure those police officers got fired after that, because they pulled her without any reason. They couldn't explain. They were just so nervous after they realized who she was, being the Florida state attorney. It was just like, whoa, and this is a black woman,
Right. So let me I'm gonna be real quick, Doc. So this is the reason why probably someone like myself was never in that position. I had the power to take everything that you own, just like that. But your anger wasn't sustainable. You was angered. You was inconvenienced. You went to the press, and that was it. He couldn't get a job being a security guard at Walmart by the time I got finished with him.
This is it.
Well, it's a good comment here by Sharice Taylor, and thank you for the comments. And this is something we didn't have when we first did Dr. Vibe's Allies, where people could comment in real time. She says, "Dr. Vibe, the truth for me is I don't even have to be stopped to get hyper aware mode. I could be that I see a police car in traffic with me or stopped at a light. I can't know which to trust."
That's real
True.
Talk.
That's real talk.
Well, as a black person, you always have to be aware. Always. I mean, I drive for a living, so I'm always aware of what's going on, and this is it.
Just as we wind it down, because we're going to do a shorter version to start, because back in the day we used to do 2-hour conversations. We're not going to get into that yet, but they'll probably come. But Henri, one of the things that you shared, and that's very interesting, that concerns me about our people. We make and bless their souls, the Tyree Nichols, George Floyd's, but this happens all the time, but we're not sustained about it.
Right.
And the concern is, I think about the why it happens so sporadically, because it's dictated to us by media what we should get upset about.
Exactly. And again, if it doesn't affect you, you don't really understand. So when I say we don't maintain sustainable anger, our history is living proof that we don't sustain anger. But our history is also living proof that when we galvanize within our sustainable anger, we accomplish more. My very first appearance from the Dr. Vibe Show was the February Black History Month, talking about the Harlem Renaissance. how do you think the Harlem Renaissance was birthed? It was birthed out of anger, right? Of not having, you know, a platform to be great. So they built it. And it just reverberated all over the country. And every little major city was having its own type of renaissance. But they knew how to destroy it. They controlled the narrative by creating a false race war.
You know, so when Henri's talking about his first appearance, I actually found the post. So give a little history to people right here. This goes back. Okay, let's put it up here. Yeah, let me just scroll it up here. Yeah, here we go. That is March 12th, 2012. March 12th, 2012, family. That's the first time Henri was on this platform with Kenya Williams talking about the Harlem Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the Dr. Vibe show, put in the search engine Harlem Renaissance, you'll be able to listen to the conversation from 2012.
Cool.
from
2012.
Wow. But yeah, I think the only way we get better if we just kind of, you know, we have sustainable anger to make us move. And that sustainable anger is going to allow us to really galvanize and put the right pieces in the right place to make the needle move. We got to move the needle from where it's been on for too long now. We have to push the needle forward.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. Any more comments before we start winding it down a little bit?
No,
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. I'm just, you know, I'm just happy to see all of y'all and everybody's doing well, and you know, Mr. General. So, but
and we're gonna see what we can do with the General. Actually, some more looking in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna show the first time Clive Henri was on the platform.
Many moons ago.
Well, you know, so this was back on. Let me just pull it up here. February 1st, 2012.
Whoa.
And all these conversations, family, you should be able, if you go to the dot, you can hear them when they first jumped into the pool. That
went viral. That went viral. I made it go everywhere. Dr. Vibe was in Dubai. I made sure, you know, I was like, yes, get it out there.
Well, yes. Clive, as I said, you were the first Black man that I knew had any sort of relationship who went viral. Like that was like, wow. And I'm truly humble because I'm going, here's the guy that has all these followers. Why, if I ask him, is he even going to come on?
No, I was, that was the phase what woke me up, and I was angry. That we had to go through these things as Black people and everything. You know, I started to do my research on history of where we coming from before slavery, and I realized we are kings and queens, and we built civilization, and it's been taken from us and hidden, and they've got this new media pushing this different narrative. And I thought, no, I'm gonna fight with all the might I've got, and I was ready for it. So that's why I did a lot in a short space of time.
And VU, you think I'm gonna leave you out? No, I ain't leaving you out either. I'm gonna pull you up now too. So VU was actually on before these other gentlemen.
Yeah.
VU was first on the platform back on November 6th, 2011.
Wow.
And just for the listeners, we did these ally shows and black men talking.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing from that.
That's a whole other thing.
There's the allies. There was Black. There were two distinct franchises.
Yeah, exactly.
Going back to people like the Style Gent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my God.
You know, it's the style gent. We had a number of different people come through
Man,
the turnstiles, but you know,
man,
we are back now. I said older, wiser, and a lot of other stuff. And we're back to rocking. So gentlemen, I want to say thank you for taking the time to make it happen again. We've got the mission still has to be completed. And we've
Amen.
and Henri's tagline is always a classic.
Let's buckle up and knuckle up, baby. Let's get it on. No, it ain't nothing changed but my hairline. That's about
it.
Any final words from each of you before we close up?
I want to say, you know, we got to be thankful for every day that we're breathing, and we got to look out for each other. The two things I always say to people about, you know, as a black person is, in slavery they didn't allow us to be unified, and they didn't allow us to be educated. So these are the two things I push, and I say this to all black people: educate yourself, and you know, don't have that face, that angry face with your black people. Greet and educate and help others. And once you start building a village again, then we will start building a bigger nation, and things will work out, because it's the big picture that people aren't seeing. That's why they think it's a separate thing when things go wrong. But once they start to see the big picture, things are going to change.
Good stuff.
God don't sleep, as I say. Slow but sure.
Absolutely. So, well, Doc, you create a platform for us as a culture, as a people, to voice what we feel, and for that, you know, I got mad love and respect.
Can't do it without y'all. Didn't do it alone.
And to have these platforms now that social media is bigger than when we started. We started the Ally Show.
We did it all audio. We did it all audio.
We didn't have no. We did. What I was going to say to our listeners is that we did the show for, I would say, about 4 years, never knowing what anybody looked like.
Yep.
Because it was commitment. It was commitment to number one, to be the street reporters globally. We were the street reporters, right? Clive in London, I'm in California, VU out there, Tennessee, and we had people from Florida. And then we brought other people on.
Yes,
because
right.
We needed to know what was going on with us globally. This not in our little backyard. Our world is bigger than the 7 square blocks that we run on. So it's very important to get that out there. And to Clive's point, we have to educate. We have to educate ourselves about everything, starting with our history, starting with our local laws, and then unite with those who are like-minded. And then once we can unite with them, now we reach back and get one. One other thing I forgot to mention is that I'm also doing a mentoring program of young Black men. That's going back into development, because I started it when we were doing the show.
There was a gentleman. What was his? There was he lived in Antioch. Is there a city in California?
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name now.
Right.
Go on.
His name slips me too. But here's the thing: we did try to link, but he was inconsistent.
Oh wow!
So we can't be doing anything and be inconsistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. So I'm hopefully, within the next couple of months, after I sit down and talk with my pastor, see when he wants to really try to put this out there again. I'll be working with a group of young Black men, getting them ready for the world. I've just started with this young man named Isaiah, and we had a very good, long, candid conversation about what his steps after college, right? And he approached me. So if they approach you, bring them into the fold and teach them right.
Absolutely.
That's
VU,
good.
final word from you, VU.
All right, let me get off mute.
Some things never change.
Oh boy, but yeah, I was just sitting up here thinking about legacy. I was thinking about how long ago it was when we started doing things like this Allies show. Some things that just came to mind is the fact that truth isn't changed by time, and unity can't be stopped by distance, and I just think that we should always look back and be thankful and be grateful for the seeds that we've sown into the lives of other men and women, because we never know when those seeds are going to grow and change their lives positively for the future. So I just want to,
That's good stuff.
I just really appreciate hearing you guys' voices and being in your presence again. And it meant a lot to me then. It means even more to me now, because as we know, all these life experiences we have, not all of them have been pleasant.
Right.
We're thankful for those that are, but the things that really matter are the relationships that you've built. And who would have thought that here are a group of men who could reach across countries? Surely we can reach across the welcome mat to the neighbor next door. So thank you, Doc. Thank you, Clive. Thank you, Henri.
Well put. Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you all, and those who are watching live on the replay or listening on the replay, we're back. So, all things being blessed, put it in your calendars. March 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The Allies are going to continue the mission and journey. We'll see if we can get Jonathan Juiceman Shaw and Mike Ramey, but we are back to do the complete and continue the mission. So a few last comments we got here. If you want to catch me, just subscribe YouTube. And also, if you do it on YouTube, hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook. And wherever you're watching it, just subscribe. Also, if you want to promote your business or service on the show, contact me at Dr. Vibe, Dr.Vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And you can catch all the stuff via replay on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then on the website, the drvibeshow.com. So this is the way we ended out. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. The Allies are back, people. You be ready. Catch ya. Yeah. Listen.